What if the very thing you love most becomes the source of your deepest suffering? What if your greatest passion turns into your greatest pain? Welcome to GitaSahasram. In the bustling city of Mumbai, lived a young artist named Raghav. His small studio apartment was filled with canvases, brushes, and the sweet scent of sandalwood incense that his mother had taught him to light every morning. Raghav had always believed that his art was his Dharma, his life's purpose. Each stroke of his brush was a prayer, each color a meditation. He painted with the devotion of a true bhakta, pouring his soul into every canvas. For months, Raghav had been preparing for the city's most prestigious art exhibition. He had created what he believed was his masterpiece, a series of paintings depicting the divine love between Krishna and Radha, inspired by the Bhagavad Gita's teachings. The day of the exhibition announcement arrived. Raghav's heart raced as he opened the email. His eyes scanned the list of selected artists once, twice, 3 times. His name was nowhere to be found. The rejection felt like a dagger to his heart. How could they not see the beauty in my work, he wondered. I poured my devotion, my love, my very soul into these paintings. How could they reject Krishna himself? Days turned into weeks. Raghav could not pick up his brush. His studio felt like a temple where the deity had abandoned him. His mother, Sunita, watched her son with growing concern. One evening, as Raghav sat in darkness, his mother entered with a worn copy of the Bhagavad Gita. Beta, she said softly, when your grandfather faced such darkness, he would always turn to Krishna's wisdom. She opened to chapter 2, verse 47, and read aloud, Karmanye vadhikraste ma phaleshu kadachna. You have the right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Raghav looked up, confusion in his eyes. But Ma, if I cannot expect recognition for my work, then why create at all? What is the point of painting if no one will see the beauty? His mother smiled gently. Beta, tell me, when you were painting those images of Krishna, when you were lost in the colors and the forms, were you thinking about the exhibition? Were you thinking about recognition? Raghav paused, remembering those sacred moments. No, Ma. In those moments, I felt like I was touching the divine. Time would disappear. There was only the brush, the canvas, and something greater flowing through me. At that moment, Raghav experienced what the ancient texts call the divine realization. He understood that his attachment to results had clouded the pure joy of creation itself. The Upanishads speak of this truth, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. The divine was not separate from his creative process, it was the very essence of it. His mother continued, the Upanishads teach us that the material world is Maya, an illusion that distracts us from the eternal truth. Your paintings are not truly yours, Beta. They are expressions of the divine working through you. Over the following days, Raghav began to study the sacred texts more deeply. He learned about Nishkama Karma, the path of selfless action, where one acts without attachment to results. The Bhagavad Gita revealed to him that attachment brings suffering, while detachment brings freedom. Attachment is the root of all sorrow, Krishna taught. When you release your grip on outcomes, you find peace. Slowly, Raghav began to understand. His suffering came not from the rejection itself, but from his attachment to acceptance. He had made his self-worth dependent on external validation, forgetting that true fulfillment comes from within. One morning, as the sun cast golden rays through his studio window, Raghav picked up his brush again. But this time, something was different. He was not painting for recognition or fame. He was painting for the sheer joy of creation. As he painted, he remembered the words of the Upanishads, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, all this is pervaded by the divine. Every stroke of his brush was a prayer, every color a celebration of the divine presence in all things. Hours passed like minutes. Raghav was in what the ancient texts call dhyana, a state of meditative absorption. He was no longer the doer, he was merely the instrument through which the divine creative force flowed. When he finally stepped back, he saw that he had created something beautiful, not because it might win awards or bring recognition, but because it was born from a place of pure love and detachment. His mother found him there, tears of joy in his eyes. "Ma," he said, "I understand now. My art is not about me. It is about serving the divine through creation. Whether the world recognizes it or not is irrelevant." From that day forward, Raghav's approach to art transformed completely. He would wake each morning, light incense, and offer his creative abilities to Krishna, asking only to be a worthy vessel for divine expression. He painted constantly, but never again with the desperate hunger for recognition. Each painting was complete in itself, a perfect offering to the divine, whether it was seen by one person or 1,000. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that when we act without attachment to results, we become free from the bonds of karma. Raghav discovered this freedom in his art. He was no longer bound by success or failure. 6 months later, a gallery owner happened to visit Raghav's studio. She was moved to tears by the spiritual power radiating from his paintings. "These are not just paintings," she said, "they are prayers made visible." But when she offered him a major exhibition, Raghav's response surprised her. He smiled peacefully and said, "If it serves the divine purpose, then I am grateful. If not, I am equally grateful. My joy is in the creation, not in the recognition." The exhibition was a great success, but Raghav remained unmoved by praise or criticism. He had learned the most important lesson of all, that true fulfillment comes not from external validation, but from aligning our actions with our Dharma. Years later, when young artists would come to him seeking advice, Raghav would share the wisdom he had learned, create not for the world's approval, but for the joy that creation brings to your soul. Let your art be your prayer, your canvas your temple. He would quote the Upanishads, "The wise person is one who acts without attachment, who gives without expectation, who creates without possessiveness. Such a person finds liberation in every action." Today, whenever you feel disappointed by the world's response to your efforts, remember Raghav's journey. Remember that your worth is not determined by external recognition, but by the sincerity and love with which you perform your dharma. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that we are all artists in the gallery of life. Our actions are our paintings, our intentions are colors, our dharma our canvas. Paint with love, create with devotion, and let detachment be your brush. When you can create without attachment, work without expectation, and give without seeking return, you have discovered the secret of true happiness. You have found the path that leads beyond suffering to eternal peace. Let Raghav's transformation inspire you to examine your own attachments. Where in your life are you clinging to outcomes? Where are you seeking validation instead of finding fulfillment in the process itself? Practice Nishkama Karma in your daily life. Whether you are a student, a professional, a parent, or a seeker, remember that your duty is to act with excellence, but your happiness should not depend on the results of your actions. This is the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. This is the path that transforms suffering into joy, attachment into freedom, and ego into divine love. This is the way of the enlightened soul. May you find the courage to paint your life with the colors of Dharma, the brush of detachment, and the canvas of divine love. May you discover, as Raghav did, that true success lies not in the world's applause, but in the soul's contentment. Hare Krishna.